There was silence inside the hut. Only the sea and the whistling wind could be heard. "I'm a what?" gasped Harry. "A wizard, of course," said Hagrid.
Hermione screamed. Black leapt to his feet. Harry jumped as though he'd received a huge electric shock.
Harry stretched out his hand at last and took the yellowish envelope addressed in emerald green to Mr. H. Potter, the floor, Hutton Mill.
Harry Potter apparated out of thin air. Vast tomes of words, ideas, magic potions, weird creatures, firm friends and deadly enemies, and the darkest evil. It gripped children like the most powerful spell.
Dumbledore!
At midnight on the 21st of July 2007, JK Rowling revealed what children and adults the world over had been waiting for, the final instalment of the Harry Potter saga.
This is the biggest party of the summer.
Thousands of avid readers converged on London's West End to party together in honour of Harry Potter, and I'd like to think JK Rowling herself, sparking a media frenzy.
It's an amazing experience, it's like carnival atmosphere.
It's just one of those nights that you're going to remember for a long time.
Never seen anything like this before. The only thing you can ever compare a Harry Potter launch to is the last Harry Potter launch, and this is the last Harry Potter launch, so I think everyone's going all out for a really great time.
In a world in which young people are known as the iPod generation, in which entertainment is dominated by TV, PlayStation and Nintendo, JK Rowling has managed to turn children all over the world back to reading books for fun. I'm glad that my children are part of the generation who've grown up with Harry Potter. My husband read the children The Philosopher's Stone and The Chamber of Secrets, and through The Goblet of Fire and The Half-Blood Prince and of course The Deathly Hallows, our summers have been marked, some would say scarred, by Harry Potter.
Well, I think the Potter books are unique because you are growing up with Harry kind of year by year. When you were just going into secondary school and just starting all that, Harry was as well, and then when you were doing your big exams, Harry was doing his big exams. As I've grown up and as the books have grown up, in a sense, it's been even more enjoyable to read.
JK Rowling had a vision for a complete set of books following children through the 7 years of school. This helped her gain a loyal readership and enabled her to develop storylines and characters over time. She always said she knew the ending before she'd even begun, and kept it safely locked up in her trunk for 10 years.
Harry Potter's world has become richer and more complex with every story. From Hogwarts to Azkaban to Godric's Hollow, he's faced monumental battles and death has stalked every page.
JK Rowling has looked to the Bible, to classical stories, incantations, rituals, fairy stories and folklore. But no one has created anything quite like Harry Potter.
Stay in formation, everyone. Don't break ranks if one of us is killed.
You've got adventure, you've got intrigue, you've got mystery, you've got a dollop of romance running through it, you've got plenty of humour. There are some really scary bits, there are fantasy bits. There's nothing you wouldn't want, but at its very heart, it's just a classic tale of good versus evil, and you can't go wrong with that.
Her characters have cast a spell all over the world, creating a generation of budding Harry Potters, wannabe magicians, of earnest Hermiones, Hagrids and Dumbledores.
While JK Rowling immerses her readers in a magical world, she draws on the ills and conflicts of the real world, from the Holocaust to ethnic cleansing, racism, political corruption, the gutter press, and she explores issues like disability and euthanasia. She presents her readers with a moral barometer, not just a simple idea of right and wrong.
This is why she appeals to children and adults alike, because her magical metaphors can be enjoyed on so many levels.
I think the books are full of lessons and values and stuff, and I think they do have a lot of depth. It transcends really the bounds of age and things, because all ages enjoy them.
With the 7 books published, JK Rowling has completed her story, and the multi-million-pound publicity machine has done its work. So it's hard to remember what it was like back in the beginning. In 1997, when The Philosopher's Stone was published, there was no great marketing hype, no merchandising, no computer games, no grown-ups dressed as Severus Snape and Albus Dumbledore at the book launch. No, then the word about Harry Potter spread the same way news had spread for centuries, by word of mouth. Long-time bookseller John Howells has seen the process through from the beginning.
I remember when the first book came out and JK Rowling came along with a really quietly released book. We only had a few copies in my shop in Walsall, but within a year it was the biggest selling children's book of that year.
Many argue she's been visionary in her approach to the marketplace.
What's turned it from being a good basic book that might have sold hundreds of thousands, maybe 1 million or 2, into a book that sells tens of millions, has been actually the way she's understood the dynamics of the creative market, embedding sequel after sequel after sequel. So each one became a bigger event, with the expectation being that actually, as everyone had read the previous one, you better be part of the crowd, you better be part of the zeitgeist, be part of the Harry Potter phenomena.
The marketing hype, the blockbuster films, the website, the computer games, the merchandising have all helped promote the Harry Potter brand, which in book sales alone is now worth almost £400 million. There's nothing else like it in publishing history. JK Rowling's own story is part of the Harry Potter legend, from a struggling, penniless writer and single mother to the bejewelled queen of publishing as rich as Croesus. She's enigmatic, shy and guarded, yet her face is known all over the world. I can imagine her gliding through the corridors of Hogwarts like nearly headless Nick, a silent, glamorous white witch. JK Rowling had a wonderful belief in her vision. It took 7 years to make it from an idea she had on a train journey to her first published book. But could anyone have foreseen the impact her work would have?
She's done in the 21st century precisely what Dickens did, and arguably Shakespeare did, actually in appealing to their audiences at their time.
JK Rowling's most extraordinary achievement is that she created a complete and alternative universe and held it in her head for almost 2 decades, and now we have it all. She has unlocked the joy of reading for millions of children and adults and given them a unique and magical key into a different world and a belief in the power of their own imagination. That's why, for me, she is a 21st century visionary.
So now you've heard all the arguments, and it's up to you to decide who you think is literature's greatest visionary. But before you do that, Sue Perkins and Kirsty Wark are here to make a final plea on behalf of their visionaries. Kirsty, what stands out for you? What do you think is the essence of JK Rowling as a visionary?
Well, for a start, I think I could recall her the Pied Piper of reading. I mean, she has just bought droves of adults and children to books, and the way she's done that is not by creating some kind of schmaltzy, saccharine, wizarding story. And I just think she's got the alchemy right for a series of books that will not just do this generation, but will live on.
But if they were up against each other today, if they were contemporaries, do you really believe that Dickens would be able to get the edge, Sue, over JK Rowling today?
The telescope of time has reduced Dickens, I think, to this rather crusty, old-fashioned and very sort of elite writer, which is, of course, exactly the opposite of what he was, because he was the first person that excited the working classes to read, you know.
But Kirsty, is it great literature? Because today we're talking about literature's greatest visionary.
Well, you know, you could argue that Dickens was not necessarily always great literature, and there were great passages you think, well, actually, I would have quite happily taken a pen through this. But actually, you've got to look at the totality of it. And I think that they were both absolutely brilliant people at page-turning. They just got the page-turning thing phenomenally.
So if you were to make a last-minute appeal for people's votes who are watching this, what would you sum up as to why they should vote for Charles Dickens over JK Rowling?
I think they have to strip away the sort of the sentimentality which Dickens is cloaked in, and try and remember that at the time people were not used to hearing stories about the working classes, about women who'd been put upon and beaten and deprived, you know. And also he was the first person who put London on the map. He, you know, brought London as we know it, the modern, bustling, industrial mania of London, to life better than anybody else, I think.
And Kirsty, a final plea?
Jo Rowling created a total world. She left nothing to chance. I think it was such a kind of satisfactory read. 350 million copies of the book sold to date, and even as we speak, people will be buying the book. And I think when there's so much else out there vying for attention, I think that was a tremendous feat.
Well, thanks very much to you both. They're both such extraordinary and visionary talents in their own rights. But Sue Perkins, Kirsty Wark, thanks very much to you both.